since Wednesday when the remnants of Hurricane Hillary came through town. We've had a couple of storms. Had a little bit of lightning a couple of nights ago. We had one. Last night there was lightning. This morning I see a little rainbow. That's fun. Mostly blue skies. Probably later today, my guess, this will all break up. So you can see our cucumbers are filled out all down the row. All the peppers are plenty of peppers. Today's the 26th of August, and we have poblanos. Nice sized poblanos. I think someone picked all the bigger ones. All the cubanelles. Some are turning orange and red. And we have the green bells. Some of those are turning red. Yellow bells. Actual red bells. The sun gets in there. Here's some orange bell. The sun gets to our peppers. Don't shade them much. So we have sun scald. Here's the peas. Some of these ones we replanted because the few that grew left a lot of space in there, so we replanted some seed. And they're coming up now 3 feet tall. The fall crop of the raspberries are all producing now. Himbo top is slow to come on, but these are Polana, and they've been ripe for a while. They've been ripe for about a week. The fall crop has been. Nice sized berry. Yukon Gold and Norland Red potatoes. These are Autumn Britain. You can see there's ripe fruit in there. There's just a few green berries on the Primark Freedom Everbearing blackberries. Yeah, I don't see any ripe fruit, but you can see some of this new crop has set up some green. There's a lot of green on this one. The blueberries are done. There's 4 plants in here, I think. Then we have some cantaloupe. Down there, there's some okra. The zucchini is producing, finally. We have too much. The broccoli is about done. I mean, it produced its head, but we haven't used much of it here. I keep eating a little bit while I'm out here, just breaking pieces off to eat. The beets are growing. They're probably 2 inches. Some might be 3 inches across. The Swiss chard, plenty to pick there. So then I'll check the grapes, but I was just going to show the Himbo top. Look how loaded these things are in their fall crop, but it's almost the end of August, and the main stems, unpruned stems, haven't really ripened yet. So there's a ton of fruit coming, but quite late actually. Then we have our flame seedless. I don't think there is an emerald in there. Now that I've seen this year, I can't find any. There's just a flame at the far end and a flame in the middle. No emerald, and the rest are Concords. You can see these Concord grapes are doing great. There's a lot of grapes hanging there. And then down here, about the middle, we've been picking right here. You can see a big trunk of flame seedless. That's just loaded in there. A lot more grapes this year than we had last year. Then this section here is Concord again, and then we have one flame seedless on the end. Like that. Look how pretty that is. Wow. The last set of grapes are Suffolk Red, and there are no ripe grapes on it yet. Suffolk Red. I would think that they'll ripen up in September, but there's sure a lot more grapes this year than there were last year. They're really pretty. There are some turning pink. You can see some pink, but they're not quite ready. Some people love these Suffolk Reds. And a Reliance, which we don't have, is also very, very sweet. These are so sweet. They make the sweetest grape juice, but almost too sweet. There's a ton of those in there. Yesterday we weeded the section not down to the street so you can see our flowers. Pull all the grass, or I didn't finish, but I got most of it. You can see a little bit of grass on this side. I weeded the backside between there and the grapes. And I cleaned up this front section where the weeds were down the sidewalk lines. I took out the really bad carpet, put in some clean carpet, and set staples in it so the wind doesn't blow it away out here on the street. Our fall crop of strawberries is still producing. Some strawberries there, all up and down the row. Our other section here in front of the street, or in front of the corn there, here by the street, hasn't ever been weeded. We can't get to it. Same with a section back here by the fence. We started Wednesday, Wednesday morning. Jerry and I pulled some weeds out back there to fill the bins, but there's a lot left to do there. And then I'm going to do a little bit here today, see if I can get some weeds cleaned up out of this mess. There's some cantaloupe, there's some bush pumpkins, there's some watermelon in there. Down on the end there's some peppers and some tomatoes. The black raspberries are starting to send out their growth. This is filling out very nicely. Probably time to prune some of those because they don't need to be very long. If they get real long, then they start hanging way down to the ground. Up front in the yard we have a couple of peaches. This Reliance on our new tree. And let's see, on this Reliance, you can see how bent over this poor tree is back here, but it's loaded with little peaches. We have two pear trees that are just totally loaded. Wow. And I thinned them a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago I thinned them. I think it's been 2 weeks. And these have really grown since then. Wow. Plus last week we picked 2 boxes or 4 boxes of pears. Can't remember, I'll go look. They start falling like this without too much wind even. They're starting to fall on the ground. So it's about time to pick. Some blushing on some of these are really pretty. This tree seems to blush a little easier. I like the red there. This tree over here doesn't get as much blushing. Pears are nice sized. Even farther up front, I pruned all of the branches off of these 2 almond trees and left one stem, one vertical stem. See if we can't get that to push up a little higher. This is only 4 feet tall, and that one over here is 5 feet tall. And the stem is growing. It's got another, almost a foot to reach the height of the fence. 6-foot fence. And then our little apricot tree is still nice and green. And the early Albertas. Let's see, are they both early Albertas? I can't remember. This peach tree is Red Haven. And this one back here is early Alberta, I'm pretty sure. Yes, early Alberta. We still have some good color up front without paying too much attention to it this year. Some pink geraniums, some red geraniums, some Stella d'Oro daylilies. This pink rose, tea rose, has produced a lot of blossoms, and right now it's not producing anything. Out back of the house you can see our sage, our rosemary, and the basil's still doing very well. Might not do so well in the sun, but back here in the shade I just keep pinching off the seed blossoms and it keeps growing. Our chives and the flowers. They don't get as much sun as they need back here, and so I don't think they bloom as much as they would if they were in the sun, but they do bloom. Looks nice. This section of our yard is pretty bad, but this is where Jerry and I weeded all this along through here and pulled out some of that big milkweed or whatever it is. I think it's milkweed. It grows 6 feet tall. I cleaned out all of the milkweed around here 2 weeks ago, and you can still see some back by the fence. A lot of 5-foot milkweed. These are the blackberries from the leftover greenhouse, and our leftover Concord grapes from the greenhouse are doing extremely well back here. You can see where we've given grapes to some people. There's some more we pulled out. This is the Heritage. Raspberries are ripening on this year's growth. And we took some trees back to Costco back here. You see all the ones on the back row that are gone. And if there was any green, we kept it. So this tree might not be worth much, but it did have green above the graft. You can see barely any green above this graft right there. But we kept it. And then this cherry tree. This is a semi-dwarf early Alberta peach. See a few leaves up and down the stem, so we kept it. This one really leafed out. This is same thing. Early Alberta. And I think this is a peach. Pink Lady apple also has leaves above the graft down there, so we kept it. The rest of all of these here have been pulled out. All those were pulled out and sent back to the store because I just don't think they were going to survive. Here's one that has a leaf in the graft, so I'm not sure that's going to work. Not much there. What is it? Gala apple. The rest of these apples are doing just fine. See, we have a brand new gopher. I don't know where those crazy things come from. We get rid of them and they're gone for 2 and 3 weeks and so on, and then here they come again. There's a gopher. Drive us crazy. They must be, there's an old concrete ditch here underneath the ground right there. And they could come from anywhere. They could come from half a mile down the ditch in the ditch, and then they come out where it breaks because the ditch is broken here and it's broken on down in the garden in there a ways. Look at this. Crazy gophers. We'll get them. That's a brand new hole right here. Brand new mound. So we better get him taken care of before he gets to spreading. And we have had gophers, and so we have tunnels all out through the garden and all back through this direction, clear over to the apple trees, clear over to the cherry trees. We've had gophers. And into the end of the new greenhouse beyond the shop there. So we have gopher tunnels everywhere in the ground, and if we don't take care of this gopher, then he will spread out and take over the whole yard again using existing tunnels. Drive us crazy. I don't believe there are any bees. There's been activity twice this year coming in and out of this slit right there, but probably no activity in there currently. Yesterday the Blue Angels were practicing for a show they're going to do today, and we had flyovers, 20 flyovers with 6 jets blowing smoke. Yeah, look at the blackberries. There's a few for breakfast right there. That's really pretty. Big blackberries. Those are our Triple Crown. All right, enough for our garden update. Things are doing very well. I pruned the castor beans a couple days ago. You can see here's an artichoke coming up out of our new artichoke plants. Things are growing very well. We've been very happy with the production of the garden this year.